is the way we drop the beat now.
Alright, listen up everyone. They've announced that the technical regulations are changing for next season. Now there's a risk a lot of our hard work could be undone if we're not careful, so let's figure out how to mitigate this. Drivers, take a look at the developments we have and let us know what you want to invest in protecting. Alright everyone, let's get on top of this. The new parts have arrived from the factory without issue. They'll be fitted to the car in time for the next session.
Hello guys, Turbocharged 51 over here! I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. And it is time for episode 15, also round 15 of season 1 at Marina Bay in Singapore for the Singapore Grand Prix. I hope you guys are very excited. Singapore in the past has not been a circuit that I really loved, but in recent years I've grown fond of it. It always provides excellent racing and it's just a fun circuit to drive. Not that I'm brilliant at this circuit, but we're still gonna give it our best shot. As you guys look here at the performance chart, Ferrari is still ahead of Mercedes, both of the top teams plateauing. Red Bull have brought some minor upgrades. They are eking all closer to Mercedes and Ferrari. Hopefully they can keep the pace going and actually catch them this time. Renault is in 4th position, and finally, officially, we as Scuderia Toro Rosso are the 5th best car on paper. We have jumped Haas. We are finally ahead of them, with Haas bringing up 6th position, Force India 7th. That's a very close battle between us three there. Then McLaren and Sauber still neck and neck for 8th and 9th position, and Williams still bringing up the rear. As the season progresses, this is becoming very, very close indeed. You guys saw in the beginning of the episode we are going to have a regulation change as soon as season 2 starts, and it's the durability and the chassis part of the car. To be quite honest, I want to try and adapt all the parts because really, as you guys saw in Italy, I struggled with the reliability of the car. I really need this car to keep the reliability, but also I needed to keep its chassis performance. We quickly run here to practice 2. I had a little bit of a mishap here in practice 2, busy while I was doing my quali program. You guys see, I just lose it under over the little bridge there and break off a little bit of my front wing. But that is not the end of the world. Let's get ready for qualifying at Marina Bay in Singapore. Let's see what we can get out of the Toro Rosso. Hopefully we can get into Q2 at least. Let's go to qualifying.
It's time for us to settle down and the drivers below to get fired up. Once again, welcome to Singapore as we get ready for the green light and the start of what should be a fantastic qualifying session. And as we count down to that green light, I have to say, Anthony Davidson, that this rain is not showing any signs whatsoever of abating. I imagine we'll be looking at some last-minute setup changes to better adapt these cars to the conditions. What do you think?
The trouble is, Crofty, they need to be thinking about the race tomorrow. You don't want to go jacking up the ride heights and piling on a few points of extra downforce that you're not going to want in the Grand Prix itself. The Parc Fermé regulations mean that you have to make that choice. The best thing the drivers can do is adapt with the tools they have available in the cockpit. Moving the brake bias forward will help stop the rear end slipping out under braking, and opening up the differential can really help tame the oversteer on corner exit. The drivers that can make best use of these techniques will have the best chance for success here today.
So we are here in the pit box here at Singapore, and as you guys can see, it is soaking wet outside. We are on the brink of the conditions with going over to wet tires, but the cars were keeping the track dry, I can tell you guys that. So Inters were the best tire to be on, and as the session progressed, Inters became faster and faster, but there was no way we were going to go onto slicks in quali 1, so let's see what happens. I did about 4 or 5 laps in the beginning of the session just to feel where the grip levels are, so you guys will see as I get more confident I bump up the fuel and the ERS, but in the beginning I was just feeling where the grip levels were and just trying to get in laps to get used to the car and these conditions, because Singapore, we are not really used to it raining here, and with this already being a low grip and a high wear track, driving here with intermediate tires is it's quite a stiffy, if you want to call it that, at least. But we head here through the laps. At the end of the first lap I go into standard with fuel and medium for my ERS for my second lap. We crossed the line with a 1 minute 57.8, not really a very good time, but as you guys know, low fuel mixture and low ERS. We were not going to go far. We go to the end of the second lap. I keep it in at medium ERS, pump my fuel up to rich just to see how the third lap went. We bettered the second lap to a 1 minute 56.4, which in my opinion is still a very good lap. I'm just gonna stay quiet for, well, not stay quiet, but I'm gonna go off the lap times, guys. Just keep an eye out there and you guys will see how the lap times better. Other than that, qualifying was quite stiffy, like I told you guys, but we had enough pace to go out at the end again, because you guys will see here already as I cross the line for the final time. I am in P8, but I knew at the end of the session the track was going to get very fast, like we jump in here. You guys are not going to see the whole lap. There was a few mistakes of my lap, and just the replay, well, the recording glitched out a bit, so it was quite boggy, so I'm not going to show you guys the whole lap. For season 2 I'll do a complete lap of Singapore, but we head here onto the end of this last qualifying lap, and are we going to be able to get out of Q1? As you guys see, what we are currently 19th, sandwiched between the two Williams of Lance Stroll and Sergei Sorokin. But let's see as we go into the final corner as fast as possible on these intermediate tires. I have a little kick of oversteer, and over the line we have P16. Really? Really? And look at my teammate. Pierre Gasly came third in that qualifying session. Where was my pace? And I felt like that was an awesome lap. Even though I made two small mistakes, that still felt like an awesome lap. Ay, 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 ay. Oh well, excuses out of the window. Let's head to the race.
As the sun sets over the South China Sea, the sport that never sleeps is alert and raring to go. Welcome, under the bright lights of the Marina Bay Circuit, to another Singapore Grand Prix. It's a very long, very physical lap, this one, and really there's not much in the way of margin for error. So we have a bit of an endurance race for you tonight. It's a 3.1 mile lap here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit, with 47% taken at full throttle. It's hot, humid and bumpy around the 13 lefts and the 10 rights of mostly slow corners, but we should see speeds of up to 200 miles per hour along the Raffles Boulevard. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about O'Connor. No grid penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance and a very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position. And Kimi Räikkönen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Hamilton, Max Verstappen and Hülkenberg, Sainz, Grosjean, Magnussen and Sergio Perez, Gasly, Leclerc, Marcus Ericsson, O'Connor, Ricciardo, Alonso, Lance Stroll and Sergei Sorokin. Ocon. They've taken a grid penalty and Stoffel van Dorn completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
You managed to qualify better than we expected yesterday, so let's do the same again today.
Just a quick word here on my strategy, guys. We were going for a 2-stop, but I knew the wear on Singapore was really unpredictable, so maybe this would turn into a 1-stop. You never know. So let's head to the Singapore Grand Prix and see what unexpected things await us.
This is the way we drop the beat now. That's right. Drop the beat now. Drop the beat now. Drop the This is the way we drop the beat now. That's right. Drop the beat now. Drop the beat now. This is the way we drop the beat now.
5 red lights. Well, now it's 5 red lights. We are ready for the Singapore Grand Prix. The lights are out and away we go. Ferrari's locked out the front row. Let's see if they can keep ahead of the Mercedes. It looks like they're going to do it. Sebastian Vettel is first into the first quarter. Kimi Raikkonen second. Valtteri Bottas third and Lewis Hamilton fourth. Lewis is really going to have to pull his finger out of his rear end if he wants to keep fighting in this championship, because his lead is decreasing by the race and the two Ferraris are not stopping at all. With them being the superior car, they are giving it everything they've got to catch that man over there, Lewis Hamilton, because as you guys know, if you watched the season from the beginning, Lewis dominated the first half of the season, and since the summer break, Lewis has not been the same. But we head on to my start here, P14 on the grid due to penalties. Thank you very much. That gives me 2 positions. But I get a horrendous start, and the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo jumps me. I get a little bit of a hit from behind. I jump the Sauber of Charles Leclerc. I'm up into P12 and up the inside of my teammate and of Kevin Magnussen. I keep my inside line, have a big kick-off oversteer, but we are still in front of them. My teammate Pierre Gasly is coming up alongside me. We make a little bit of contact, but nothing too major. I keep the position. I'm sure the Toro Rosso pit crew on the pit wall they had a little bit of a heart attack there, and they are all swearing in that pit box. They turned off their mics for a split second there. I'm sure of that. We look here with the Haas and the Force India battling, and I go for a major dive on a really inappropriate spot, and the Haas hits the wall. It is chaos. The Force India, I don't even know, that's Sergio Perez. Yes, it's Sergio Perez. He tried to block me. There was a lot of stuff happening in that sequence. I think that was Roman Grosjean who hit the wall there. I am so sorry, Roman. I didn't make any contact with Perez or with Grosjean. I promise that. I just kept my tight line and I made the move stick at a spot that really isn't supposed to be where overtake is supposed to happen. Oh my words, so sorry guys. Look here guys, there's no contact between him and Perez. He just doesn't get the car turned in and he just hits the barrier. Oh, and he gets shunted by Charles Leclerc. I think that was that Charles. Oh, look at Daniel Ricciardo. He just goes on the outside of both the Saubers. Grosjean hits the wall. It is all popping off here at the Singapore Grand Prix. Let's watch it. This is the view from Charles Leclerc. He's behind all these other cars, and yes, it is him that hits Roman Grosjean, also breaking off a big part of his front wing. And then Daniel Ricciardo also comes from the outside. Ooh, a little bit of contact between him and Charles Leclerc, with Charles struggling to get the car turned in with that damaged front wing. Here's the view from Ricciardo's car. Well, I almost said here's the view from Ricciardo's POV. Wonderful decision in words there. He is just caught up in the middle of all this chaos but makes no contact. Brilliant driving from Daniel Ricciardo, and he just goes around the outside and picks up 3 positions in that little sequence. Beautiful driving from Daniel Ricciardo, the first driver at Red Bull. Here we go onto Roman Grosjean's view, and he just keeps hitting walls left, right and center. And as you guys will see, I don't know what he did here, but he just goes off and breaks his left front tire on that little piece of barrier over there. I don't know what was Roman Grosjean's idea there, but he is officially out of the Singapore Grand Prix. Not the brightest move in my opinion. But we go into the end of the first lap, and Charles Leclerc, after hitting Roman Grosjean in that little sequence in the beginning of the first lap, he is coming into the pits, and for some other reason Fernando Alonso is also coming into the pits. They both broke their front wings. We know where Charles broke his front wing, but I do not know where Fernando broke his front wing. So that I unfortunately did not catch on the replay cameras. But you guys see that these guys are going to have a massive race in front of them. They both go to a set of hyper soft tires to see how quickly they can catch up. But they've got an uphill battle ahead of them today. We head here onto the POV of myself and Sergio Perez. And Sergio Perez just comes and hits me from behind. There was more than enough room, but Perez just comes in and goes for the dive and then just hits my right rear tire. I'm lucky to not have gotten a puncture there, but now Perez also has got a front wing. It looks like Singapore's the front wing killer. And here you guys can see my teammate Pierre Gasly, while I was pulling away, he was sizing up a move on Sergio Perez because Sergio, breaking his front wing, just immediately had no pace at all, because now he has to go slow into certain corners because his front wing is broken. So my teammate is up also into the points. We head you on to the end of lap 5, and the second place man, Kimi Raikkonen, is going to dive into the pits. Kimi was struggling with for tire grip, clearly, because he put it so early. And also behind him, the second Mercedes in this race of Lewis Hamilton, the championship leader, is also diving into the pit lane. So let's see, will Kimi come out in front of that Renault? I'm sure he will. The Renault holds up Lewis, but Kimi is out, and Kimi is trying an undercut on the race leader, Sebastian Vettel. Only a few laps later, Max Verstappen is also diving into the pits. Unfortunately, guys, I want to tell you something. This is not really something that you guys need to fixate on. Max Verstappen later on in the race had a gearbox failure, which I unfortunately also did not get on the replay cameras. So Max Verstappen will later on just be cycled out of this race. You guys will just see suddenly he's not there anymore. But then later on, the race leader comes into the pit lane with Valtteri Bottas following closely behind, and they are also pitting onto a set of ultra soft tires. As you guys see there, Sebastian pits successfully, but now look very closely as they exit the pit lane. Yeah, we jump onto the Sebastian's POV, and there goes Kimi Raikkonen, while he's even overtaking the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson. He is officially the new leader of the Singapore Grand Prix. Not at this stage, these cars still have to cycle into the lead, but he has got the lead for now as soon as all the pit stops cycle out. So Kimi made an excellent decision with pitting earlier. We head here later on into the race. Kimi on fresh rubber is busy overtaking my teammate Pierre Gasly, with Vettel and Bottas behind overtaking the Sauber that Kimi overtook when Vettel exited the pit lane. So things are really popping off. We head on to the end of lap 9. This is the view from Marcus Ericsson. He is in P6, and Valtteri Bottas is right up his gearbox, ready to make a move to stay with that Ferrari. But also Vettel in front is making a move on my teammate Pierre Gasly. He makes the move stick successfully, and I think at this stage Bottas was just like, come on, you slow traffic oaks, just get out of my way. But unfortunately, with this being a street circuit and the hyper soft tires being the softest compound tire, it is quite hard to get rid of traffic at the circuit. We jump here to the lead of the Grand Prix with all the pit stops cycling out. I was leading the way just in front of Kevin Magnussen, and as you guys see here, Kimi Raikkonen has caught up to the rear of us, and he is trying to get back first position, because at this stage we are the top 3. And guys, can I also just mention, so away from the racing at this stage, these F1 cars look beautiful in the night light of Singapore with all these lights shining on them. I have to say my Toro Rosso team, that's the car that looks the best. After that, I will have to say it's the Ferrari that looks the best, and you don't have to agree with me, this is just my personal opinion. And the car that looks the third best, if I really have to be honest, is the McLaren. I don't know why that orange just is brought out with the nightlight. The 3 cars that look the worst for me, that usually look so much better when it's daylight, is the Mercedes, the Sauber, and the Renault cars. I don't know why, but they just don't look good to me in the nightlight. But guys, look at my Toro Rosso, how it's sparkling. It looks like this car is chromed. It is just so beautiful. Okay, sorry, this is Pierre Gasly, not myself. But look how beautiful this Toro Rosso look. It's just a mwah. It is a mwah. Very nice. You guys see a Valtteri Bottas goes around my teammate Pierre Gasly back onto racing commentary. Sorry for that little paint crash there that I had. But you guys see Kevin Magnussen is coming into the pit stop trying to make an undercut on me. He was not racing the Ferraris and the Mercedes. They were fighting for the victory. And Kevin Magnussen is going to come into the pits, like I said, with the intent to undercut myself. He comes into the pit and goes onto a set of soft compound tires. The tires allocated for the Singapore Grand Prix this weekend is hyper soft, ultra soft, and soft tires. So there's a gap between the middle and the hardest compound tire. So Kevin Magnussen was definitely going for a one-stop. He was going to the end of the race now. And as soon as I realized that, guys, you guys will see at the end of the lap, I head onto my pit strategy planner. Or do I show it here? I don't think I show it. Sorry, apologies for that. But I got my car onto the soft tires. I was not going to do a two-stop anymore because I knew at this stage track position was my friend. So I just got the car, told my engineer I want a set of soft tires, and at this stage I was going into the pit lane, going for the soft tires and trying to bring home a high points scoring position. We are into the pit lane and things are looking stunning. I also have to say my helmet also looks quite nice in the Singapore, what do you call it, the Singapore moonlight, the Singapore floodlights, I don't know what you call it, but my helmet with my car looks beautiful in the Singapore night sky. You guys will see we jump onto the POV of Kevin Magnussen as I exit the pit lane. Is Kevin going to jump me? It looks like it's going to be very close, heading into the second and third corners, but K-Mag has jumped me, and Kevin Magnussen at this stage I'm sure was going crazy in that car because I held him up immensely when I was leading the Grand Prix with him in second position. Guys, we head here onto the POV of Daniel Ricciardo. I think this is lap 14 if I'm not mistaken. Daniel chasing from behind with his penalty is chasing after the Renault. I think this is of Carlos Sainz, but wait, what's wrong with Daniel? Daniel? Oh no, Daniel! He's got a puncture. Daniel Ricciardo has got a puncture at the beginning of the Singapore Grand Prix. Well, at the beginning of a lap. Oh boy, Daniel Ricciardo is going to be dead last. Oh, Daniel's race is over. His chances of getting points are completely over. So sorry, Daniel. He even gets a front wing replacement because I think somewhere in the lap he broke his front wing most probably because the walls are like inches away. We head here onto the end of lap 15. Once again, sorry Danny Rick. And Kimi Räikkönen, the race leader, is coming in for his second pit stop. And at this stage, guys, you know it's lap 15. This is basically just before the halfway point of the Grand Prix. So a second set of Ultras would not carry Kimi to the end. And him, as well as you guys can see there, Lewis Hamilton is going onto a set of soft tires. But Sebastian Vettel and Valtteri Bottas stayed out, and they were going to stretch their ultra soft stint and try to go onto a second set of ultra softs. So this is going to be a very interesting end. We head here onto the POV of Esteban Ocon, who triggers the virtual safety car while he has an engine failure on the back straight here at the Singapore Grand Prix. This gave Valtteri Bottas and Sebastian Vettel the big chance to come into the pit lane, strap on their sets of ultra soft tires, and also make up some time on Kimi Räikkönen and Lewis Hamilton, because now they gained about 10 to 15 seconds. So as you guys will see, Kimi comes through the third corner and he is literally just in front of Sebastian Vettel, who is now on a fresh set of ultra soft tires, 2 compounds softer than Kimi. We literally head onto the end of lap 20, the beginning of 21, and you guys will see here between the two cars, Sebastian has so much more grip than Kimi Räikkönen at this stage, and Kimi, all he can try and do is defend, but with the same car and Vettel having 2 compound softer tires which are fresher than Kimi's, there was absolutely nothing that Kimi could do at this stage. I really felt bad for Kimi as I watched the replays, guys, because Kimi is the closest to Lewis within the championship fight, and now Ferrari are just telling these two guys to race, and they gave Vettel the better strategy. So I really felt bad for Kimi because I would like him to win more than Sebastian, even though I like Sebastian more, but Kimi has been the better driver throughout the season so far. But there you guys go, Sebastian is into the lead of the Grand Prix, but this is something that I loved to my core because I am not a Lewis Hamilton fan. Valtteri Bottas, who is on the same strategy as Sebastian Vettel, is giving Lewis Hamilton the hardest time of his life because they are exactly in the same boat as the 2 Ferrari cars, and Valtteri, as you guys can see, is just playing with Lewis. He's just waiting for the perfect opportunity, like here on the back straight, to open the DRS and say to Lewis, hey Lewis, I know you're the championship leader, but I've also got a fight of my own. Ooh, Lewis blocks a little bit dangerously there, but Valtteri is on the inside for the end of the back straight into the left-hander, and that is a more than easy pass on the championship leader, Lewis Hamilton. We head on to the end. I think this is lap 23, if I'm mistaken, sorry about that, but we head through the top 10. Sebastian Vettel is leading the way from Kimi Räikkönen and Valtteri Bottas in third. Lewis Hamilton is in 4th position. He was going to lose a lot of points if this race ended like this. Kevin Magnussen, the man who jumped me in the pit stop phases, the second pit stop phase, well, no, our first pit stop phases, is in 5th position. Myself in 6th, with Carlos Sainz in 7th, the man I am fighting for the best of the rest position in 7th place for the championship. He is in 7th. 8th position is held by Marcus Ericsson, and 9th by Sergio Perez in the Force India. These two were having a fight for the ages at this stage of the Grand Prix, but Perez was going to pass him because he was on the ultra soft tyres. And bringing up the rear of the top 10 is the other Toro Rosso of my teammate Pierre Gasly. So stuff was looking really good for Toro Rosso at this stage. We were both going to get a very big points finish, and stuff was just looking amazing. As you guys also know, my contract goal for the next two races, this one and the next one. Oh! Wait, before we talk about that, Carlos Sainz just rams me from behind. It's the second car ramming me from behind. Guys, I don't know, was I driving dirty? I don't feel like I was. I was keeping my line, and these guys just bump into the rear of me. Look at the replay. Here's the front wing of Carlos Sainz. There's more than enough space on both sides, but he has to hit me. Why? He broke off the left front end plate off his front wing, and now his pace is just completely gone. But we head on to the end of the Grand Prix, guys. I will talk about my strategy in a second, but Sebastian Vettel is going to come home and win the Singapore Grand Prix, just closing that gap to Lewis Hamilton at this stage in the championship. Well done, Sebastian Vettel. Germany is rooting for you, my friend. You win the Singapore Grand Prix. Ferrari lock out the front row, just like, well, the top two podium positions, just like they did the previous round in Italy, with Kimi Raikkonen, the flying Finn, coming home in second position, still gaining points on Lewis Hamilton in the championship, with Valtteri Bottas, the second Mercedes, finishing in front of the first Mercedes in third position. What a brilliant race. But guys, I'm going to come home in 6th position, and before even the second race, I'm going to complete my objective of finishing 6th or above. And I celebrate by spinning out at the last corner, breaking my front wing. Hashtag not intended. Let's go, baby!
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
Great effort there from Ferrari to take the victory today. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
Now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. Well, the lead at the top has come down after a poor result for our points leader. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Probably Stoffel van Dorn. You know, strong pace, good work with the strategy, just a very complete drive, I think.
On to the constructors then. Ferrari extend their lead at the top of the championship. After all that excitement, it's time for a lie down, I think. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye until the next race.
An intriguing race, to say the least. Guys, the top three are separated by 14 points. Kimi is now in third position behind Sebastian, but this is going to be a fight till the final race. I can already feel it coming, and I'm inching closer to Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz in that fight for best of the rest in 7th position. Let's go, baby, and let's head to Claire's interviews.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. Did you feel comfortable in the wet weather today? Do you think you were lucky not to end your race with that crash? Great! Well, that's everything.
So we are done with the Singapore Grand Prix, on our way to Russia, another track that I completely suck at, but I always try and give my best. But Singapore and Russia are two tracks that I love, but I can't drive on to save my life, just so by the way. But guys, we are gonna start to save some parts, to adapt some parts, so that this car does not go back to where we started in the beginning of the season. Next season I want to start fighting for the championship, because I know it's possible.
Great work. That's exactly the kind of result I'm looking for. Keep it up.
Just a quick word there from Claire, guys, but as we move on, like I said, I want to fight for the championship in the next season. We're quickly going to see what I adapt, and I also even buy an upgrade, guys, an engine upgrade. You guys are going to see here, we go to the chassis side and we adapt the most important part that we've bought, the only major upgrade for this season so far in the chassis department, 1 durability, and we also buy an engine upgrade to help us with the Russian Grand Prix, it being such a high speed and acceleration circuit. But guys, that has been this episode for the Singapore Grand Prix. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe and ding that bell, and I'll see you all definitely for the next episode in Russia. Cheers!